Isang makakalikasang araw po sa inyong lahat. Kami sa The Climate Reality Project Philippines ay nakikiisa sa buong mundo sa pagtalima sa Araw ng Daigdig o Earth Day 2021. Bilang pagsuporta, kayo ay aming inaanyayahan na ipagdiwang buong linggo ang masaganang daigdig na ating pinakaaasam. Magkakaroon po tayo ng mga programa kada araw upang itampok ang mga kwento ng pag-asa, pagsisikap at pagkakaisa sa pagsagip sa ating planeta. Atin din pong tatalakayin ang mga pagkilos upang mapalaganap ang renewable energy, mas demokratiko at makakalikasang sistema ng transportasyon at mga solusyon sa problema sa plastic sa ating bansa. Higit sa lahat, atin ding bibigyang pugay ang lahat ng mga nagmamahal at nag-aalaga sa ating kalikasan. Inaasahan po namin ang inyong pagtangkilik sa aming mga programa ngayong linggong ito. Maraming salamat at isang makabuluhang Earth Week para sa lahat.
We join the Climate Reality Project Philippines.
I joined the Climate Reality Project Philippines.
I joined the Climate Reality Project.
The House of Representatives joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines.
Solar Hope is joining Climate Reality Project Philippines.
First joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines.
Sarisi joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines.
We, the young leaders of the Rotary Club of Guiguinto Premier, joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines.
In its commitment to safeguard our only planet and leave it in better shape for the future generations.
Being mindful of climate risk and pursuing climate justice is key to our survival. The actions we take or fail to take in the present carry repercussions for our children and determine the kind of communities that they will live in. This is at the core of our philosophy at the Office of the Vice President. The idea that each of us has rights and deserves to live with dignity. And this extends not only to our brethren today, but to generations still to come. We join the Climate Reality Project Philippines in its resolve to create a larger, more strategic, more intensified push for a more climate-forward agenda. We will continue to support and promote businesses that offer sustainability and eco-friendly packaging. We will continue to make low-carbon choices, and we will continue to help push for policies and programs that will enable the transition of our country into a low-carbon and climate-resilient economy.
Solar Hope is joining Climate Reality Project Philippines to advocate for clean energy for all. We are committing to provide solar and sustainable solutions to marginalized communities here in the Philippines. And we are also committing to reach these communities even if it takes us to trek, to hike, to ride a boat, or even cross an island.
My committee's primary tasks are to track where we are on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals under the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, to explore and prepare for all various futures, and to shift people's mindsets to a futures thinking as a major policy reform. I joined the Climate Reality Project Philippines in its resolve to help restore the planet and build more sustainable cities. As a legislator, I strive to fulfill this commitment by ensuring that sustainability is incorporated in all our policy discussions. For example, we recently passed the Create Law, which seeks to rationalize the tax incentives being granted to businesses. This law that I sponsored rewards businesses that promote sustainability. We incentivize businesses in renewable energy, sustainable transportation, solid waste management, and the like. Meanwhile, I filed the Sustainable Cities and Communities Act and the Safe Pathways Act. The latter seeks to establish a network of bike lanes and slow streets. It has already passed the Senate. Almost 10 years ago, I initiated the Material Recovery Facility, or MRF, in the Senate, where solid waste can be properly sorted, collected, recycled, and composted. I continue to make such initiatives in and outside of the Senate, as it is my belief that sustainable living should be a lifestyle.
I pledge to live a more sustainable and climate-conscious lifestyle.
ensuring that every decisions I make will be anchored on climate justice and sustainable consumption. I will be a more critical consumer, only patronizing the products that are not born out of exploitative labor practices and environmental degradation. I will stand alongside the most vulnerable people and call out the corporations for their unsustainable and destructive means of production, and urge them to take responsibility for their actions. I will help raise awareness among the general public about the climate and environmental crisis, and encourage them, particularly the youth, to take action, to take stand, and be part of the solution. And I will continue to use my voice in demanding for a just transition to a low-carbon, climate-resilient, and sustainable society through policies and concrete actions and programs by the government.
Taking care of the environment includes taking care of our loved ones, our children, and their children, in the same way we make safe our homes. That is why I joined the Climate Reality Project. In your commitment to overturning our climate crises through sustainable living. By pushing the bill I filed at the Senate to ban the use of plastic straws and stirrers. Putting an end to the use of these is a small step with a big impact on our oceans and our future. It's a small step towards eliminating single-use plastics in our establishments, pushing people to make sustainable and plastic waste-free decisions. Until the Philippines is no longer one of the top contributors of plastic in the world's oceans, until we inspire others to make the change, until we meet our goals, I commit to these for families everywhere.
I joined the Climate Reality Project Philippines in reiterating our resolve to help restore the Earth, to bring back a society that does not consume thoughtlessly, to trek a path lined with our low-carbon choices to a future where both planet and people are healthy. I pledge to do my best to pursue and encourage more sustainable ways of living, to avoid products that are and what has become humanity's practice of single use. And I will continue to use my voice to demand programs and policies from the government that not only bring about systemic change, but also ensure that nobody is left behind in the transition of our country to a low-carbon, climate-resilient economy that begins with a just recovery. This is what it means to create a better Earth, better reality.
I pledge to protect our environment and contribute to a healthy, stable, and sustainable future by legislating laws that raise awareness and make lasting impacts on Mother Earth's well-being. We have filed several measures here in the Senate, one of which is Senate Bill number 1282, or the Environmental Education in Senior High School Act, to deepen the engagement of young people in environmental awareness and conservation. Through our Senate Bill number 156, we will require brand owners to provide refund values or incentives to encourage proper disposal, reuse, and recycle of beverage containers. We are also pushing for Senate Bill number 613 that will amend PD number 972 or the Coal Mining Development Act. We intend to minimize the negative environmental impact of coal mining operations and maximize their benefits, especially for the local communities. I am adding my voice to the ever-increasing outcry, particularly for public policies that serve to make positive change happen for the protection and well-being of our only home, Mother Earth.
I pledge to live a more sustainable lifestyle through the lessening of my plastic waste, specifically single-use plastic, as it greatly affects the environment, and through leaning more towards sustainable alternatives. I can also do this by promoting slow and ethical fashion and patronizing clothing brands which are committed to sustainability. In addition, I will heighten my awareness when it comes to my average personal and our household's waste produce, continue to observe proper waste segregation, and reuse resources to lessen its environmental impact.
I've always believed in environmental causes. I represent the Lone District of Marinduque, the heart of the Philippines, in the Philippine Congress. As its representative, I initiated measures on renewable energy, energy efficiency, sustainable development, climate change, and the phasing out of single-use plastics. As former chairperson of the House Committee on Energy, I shepherded the passage of the Energy Efficiency Act. Now, as Speaker, I continue and vow to continue to support these initiatives. The House of Representatives joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines in its resolve to heal and restore the planet. Your House is committed to set enabling policies that will accelerate the transition of the Philippines to a low-carbon, climate-resilient economy founded on sustainability, environmental protection, better risk governance, and climate justice. Let us unite and work together for our planet.
We commit to continue enlightening the youth about environmental issues, empowering them to take action, and equipping them with tools and knowledge to do so. We will welcome anyone wishing to make a change into the environmental movement, no matter what their background is or where they are from. We will do our best to inform fellow youths about how drastic environmental issues are, like the climate crisis and plastic pollution, and eventually empower them to seek solutions with you and with us. But of course, we commit to practice what we preach to. We first commit to make changes in our lifestyle, from lessening the water and the waste that we generate, and to conserving energy. We also pledge to ensure that our projects and initiatives are sustainable and holistic, tackling the multidisciplinary nature of environmental issues. We will continue working for positive long-term effects instead of band-aid solutions and performative actions.
The Committee on Climate Change of the House of Representatives joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines in reiterating its resolve to help restore the planet. On 25 November 2020, the House of Representatives, under the leadership of Speaker Lord Alan Q. Velasco, through the House Committee on Climate Change, has declared a climate and environmental emergency, ensuring enhanced and coherent climate actions in the executive and legislative agenda of the government. Under the declaration, the House of Representatives shall encourage all policy decision-making from local to national level to place climate urgency at its center. It shall encourage local governments to issue climate change declarations within their respective jurisdictions, call on major carbon emitters, locally and abroad, to take responsibility for climate change and to reinvest in renewable and sustainable energy. It shall also call on local governments to adopt a no to coal or no to new coal policy within their respective jurisdictions, among others. Moreover, recognizing the enormous plastic pollution problem in the country, I myself has co-authored one of the bills regulating the single-use plastics, of which the consolidated measure has just been recently filed in the plenary. By doing these actions, we hope to help achieve carbon neutrality in the country by 2030.
We, the young leaders of Rotaract, pledge to commit to refuse single-use plastics and straws and do a brand audit to make big corporations accountable for their wastes.
Indeed, we must continue supporting every voice that adds to the conversation on the urgency and necessity of solidarity, especially in these trying times of unprecedented economic fallout brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic and the onslaught of extreme weather events. With disasters set to increase in a warming climate and the risk of future pandemics remain due to lack of protective measures against deforestation and ecosystem disruption, we must raise our voices to press government to declare a climate emergency and act with a sense of urgency. Shifting towards a greener economy that boosts decent employment, offers social protection to all, and sustainable food supplies will not only help us to more rapidly cushion the immediate impact of the recession, but also to avoid future similar shocks and be more resilient to crisis. We must also raise our voices to advance an economy that keeps the increase in the world's temperatures to less than 1.5 degrees Celsius at the end of the century, where all, including future generations, are able to enjoy their human rights without harm from climate change, pollution, deforestation, waste, and environmental degradation. We have to make each voice count for urgent and effective pandemic and climate emergency response. Kinakailangan natin protektahan ang bawat boses na nagsasalita para sa epektibo, praktiko, at na tugon sa pandemya at sa kasalukuyan na planetary emergency.
SCDC joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines in its resolve to help restore the planet. We are committed to uphold sustainable practices through our micro-incremental steps from the ground level to the maximum of its reach. We commit to continue eradicating our costs in eradicating single-use of plastics in school and in the community by strengthening our initially crafted policies towards its full blast realization.
I pledge to continue to encourage people to compost their kitchen wastes, since this would reduce landfill waste, leading to reduction of gross greenhouse gas emissions, improving the air quality, and reducing erosion, which creates a safer planet for all living things.
I will use my voice to invite and empower fellow youths to take action in solving the environmental problems and spread awareness about the environmental and climate crisis. Also, as an environmental youth advocate, I will do my best to live sustainably by avoiding the use of non-energy efficient appliances in our homes and eating locally to reduce the fossil fuel energies that shops consume. When traveling close to home, I will always try to walk and rely less on cars. As a consumer, I will buy products from sustainable shops as much as possible. I will also continue to avoid the use of single-use plastics and will use recyclable bags or eco bags instead of plastic bags when buying products.
I pledge to support campaign to go for a clean and renewable energy. I will continue my advocacies on community by educating people on the use of solar and wind energy. I will promote sustainable, eco-friendly ways of utilizing energy and embrace the programs of government and non-government organizations for our planet, our climate, and our health to the best of my capabilities.
With this, I pledge to do my best with my knowledge and wisdom to pursue and obtain sustainable living. This is by starting to lessen the use of single-use plastics through buying products that have eco-friendly packaging and products that are zero waste, such as bar shampoo, washable napkins, and so on. Also, I will pursue lessening my carbon footprint by using public transportation, walking, and lessening food waste to help mitigate air pollution that alarmingly kills 7 million people annually, according to United Nations data. I will also support and promote shops that offer sustainable products, and I will stand with other organizations in demanding accountability of companies and in demanding policies and actions from government.
I pledge to live sustainably by taking a plant-based diet, promoting sustainable products, patronizing the usage of bicycles as a mode of transportation, and upcycling waste. I will continue to amplify the voices of the last, the least, and the lost, and also to take action that will not only touch their hearts, but also transform their lives in the process.
I pledge to do my best to pursue more sustainable ways of living, starting by avoiding the use of single-use plastic items such as straws, carry bags, and cutlery. I will support and promote shops that offer sustainable and eco-friendly packaging, and I will make low-carbon choices wherever possible. I will continue to lend my voice in demanding policies and programs from the government that will enable the transition of our country into a low-carbon and climate-resilient economy.
I pledge to make every effort towards living a more sustainable life by lessening my impulse purchases, facilitating a mindset of minimalism, and supporting sustainable and ethical brands in order to lessen my carbon footprint.
Living in this pandemic, I vow to live more sustainably by eating less meat and poultry, eradicating my use of PET bottles and single-use plastics, and reusing and recycling things that can have another life. In this journey, I will support and promote establishments and businesses that offer eco-friendly and sustainable products services, and packaging. I will also lessen my carbon footprint and continue to voice out my environmental advocacies.
I pledge to do my best in initiating positive change that should start within myself, in pursuing sustainable practices such as refraining from incinerating garbages, avoiding the use of single-use plastics, and planting a tree that would help increase our carbon sinks. I pledge to commit in informing and educating my family members and the people of my community about sustainable practices and climate action.
I pledge to do my best to pursue more sustainable ways of living, starting by avoiding the use of single-use plastics, such as straws, carry bags, and cutlery. I will support and promote shops that offer sustainable and eco-friendly packaging. I will make low-carbon choices wherever possible, and I will continue to lend my voice in demanding policies and programs from the government that will enable the transition of our country into a low-carbon and climate-resilient economy.
I pledge to be deliberate in manifesting and sharing our mission here in DNR Environmental Management Bureau to protect, restore, and enhance environmental quality.
In my personal lifestyle, I pledge to do my best to pursue more sustainable ways of living, starting by avoiding the use of single-use plastic items such as straws, carry bags, and cutlery, prolonging the use of belongings such as clothing or art materials, to lessen the need for new purchases, and commuting to places by bike. With wayfarers, I will continue to push for collective climate action and to lend my voice and skills in demanding policies and programs from the government that will enable the transition of our country into a low-carbon and climate-resilient economy.
I pledge to do my best to promote sustainable consumption and production, starting with supporting shops and products that have sustainable practices, either through their packaging or in their production processes. I will adopt eco-friendly routines in my life, for instance through avoiding the use of single-use plastics or upcycling them. I will choose the low-impact option whenever possible. I will continue to lend my time, effort, and voice to organizations that demand better environmental policies and programs from companies, government, and individuals.
The Rotary Club of Guiguinto Premier joins the Climate Reality Project Philippines in reiterating its resolve to help restore the planet. Actually, Rotary Year 2020-2021 is witness to the addition of new area of focus, supporting the environment. It is because Rotarians understand that the whole world is our backyard. We can see the effects of climate change in our communities, and we are tackling the problem the way we always do. This also led to the creation of the Environmental Sustainability Rotarian Action Group, or ESRAG. Our club is planning for the next year, 2021-2022, to support reforestation efforts of the government, especially of wetlands and marshlands, to mitigate the effects of land subsidence and water shortage.
As an engineering student, I pledge to devote my studies in order to improve and develop renewable and cleaner energy sources, as well as to make cleaner current, more traditional energy sources. As an individual, I also pledge to pursue a more sustainable lifestyle, avoiding single-use plastics and supporting more sustainable, environmentally friendly businesses.
I pledge to support the campaign to stop single-use plastic. I will continue my advocacies on community coastal cleanup, tree planting, and organic vegetable production. I will promote sustainable, economic-friendly ways of living. Every one of us must share in its own way to have clean and healthy planet to live in.
I pledge to do my best by first properly educating myself on the value of our natural resources. From here, you can learn multiple sustainable methods that can help lessen the vast amount of trash. And a good example of this is the 3 R's, or reduce, reuse, recycle. I cut down on what I throw away by choosing to buy bulk products and reusing or recycling used containers, papers, or any other materials at home. I use metal utensils and eco bags in order to lessen my usage of single-use plastics. And I also try to keep my water usage to a minimum to help conserve more water.
I pledge to be more aware and intentional in my actions, actively making decisions that follow a sustainable and eco-friendly lifestyle in order to benefit not only the people but of course our environment as well. I pledge to stop using single-use plastics and invest in reusable items instead. I pledge to travel more smartly as well as to reduce my electricity and energy use in order to lessen my carbon footprint.
Environmental sustainability has always been in the core of my advocacies and projects, be it personal, civic, or legislative in nature. And so I pledge to continue and encourage others to replicate my livelihood programs that make use of waste as raw materials and are considered efficient solid waste management practices, which include composting kitchen and garden waste into organic fertilizer, making use of water hyacinth into baskets and handicrafts, and waste coconut husk into coconuts for slow protection, and recycling plastic waste to turn them into school chairs. To continuously promote urban farming, which finds relevance during a pandemic setting when we have limited access to healthy food and when we need to have healthier air. To promote the importance of protecting the health of the soil by encouraging the practice of composting and going organic towards a sustainable agricultural development. To take measures that will ensure the protection of the existing 107 legislated protected areas under the E-NIPAS Act. To pursue with my initiatives for the continuing cleanup of Manila Bay with particular attention in protecting the ecological integrity of the Las Piñas Parañaque Wetland Park, a legislated protected area portion of the bay that is located in my hometown, and in maintaining the Las Piñas Zapote River Drive, which enable us to ensure the cleanliness of the Las Piñas and Zapote rivers that flow to Manila Bay. And lastly, but not the least, to strongly push for the passage of the bill institutionalizing EPR, or the Extended Producer's Responsibility Mechanism, as part of the country's solid waste management system and as a strategy to reduce the proliferation of single-use plastic that pollute our ocean and the environment. My guiding philosophy in carrying out my environmental advocacy is a Native American proverb that says, "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." Protecting this planet we call home in the best of our capacity is a legacy that we can and we should all leave behind.